Our life is as a projected movie. And so, our dear Lightworkers, we are in September of 2021, and the storm, the great revelation of the nature of the planet Earth hologram experience, is still in the stage of chaos and confusion. Division and separation of human from human is the order of the day. All that is antithetical, all that is directly opposed and contradictory to human well-being is emphasized. Brother is set against brother. Health and happiness are ignored and set aside. True communion and camaraderie, true person-to-person exchange of intimate thoughts and honest discussion of ideas is lost, and superficial social media has taken its place. Political correctness, which is the philosophy of the dark side, rules the world. Any unconventional, loving thoughts or ideas are rejected by the dark authority that runs the planet Earth schoolroom. Corruption, dishonest and fraudulent conduct for monetary gain are rife. The majority of mankind, in the midst of this storm of abuse, is still in great fear and trauma. And you, our dear Lightworkers, are so very tired of the trials and tribulations, of the hatred and rejection, the vituperative, the bitter and abusive accusations that emanate from your terrified brethren every day. It is challenging indeed in this environment to stay in the love vibration, for invariably in our daily lives we meet with those of our brethren that are caught in the low vibrating, third dimension or fear paradigm. There are two thought systems on Earth. This world of ours exists in two mutually exclusive levels of frequency. The lower level is that of fear. At this level, love cannot be accessed, and mankind lives his life from the negative, adversarial understanding that has been programmed into him. The ego is paramount. He feels inferior. He is told throughout his infancy and childhood that he is inferior. Yet the ego has a need to be better than others, to be superior, to be right in all things. It is a lost cause, for happiness cannot be found while the mind of the ego fights against the reality of the soul's desire for honesty and authenticity. Happiness requires peace of mind. Peace of mind is impossible when the mind is split between feelings of inferiority and a need for superiority, a need to exercise power over your brethren. A life lived in fear, fear of not being good enough, fear of being worthless and powerless, is the inevitable result of such a thought system. This is the schoolroom planet Earth paradigm that we are moving out of. Mankind comes to Earth to school himself, to expand and grow his soul's awareness by experiencing the pain of division and separation and the agonies of a split mind. The mind that knows itself deeply as inferior, yet needs to prove its superiority by constantly degrading and insulting its brethren. And now it is time for the schoolroom planet Earth experience to come to an end. It is time for those of mankind who are ready to move out of the low, the challenging fear frequency. It is time for them to move into the love vibration. The love vibration, the wonderful, unfathomable, incomprehensible frequency where unconditional love reigns supreme, where the purpose of this earthly experience is revealed, where the realization is made that humanity, each human individual, has a divine soul ensconced within his body, that all that has been experienced as a victim, as a fearful mortal, being buffeted about helplessly by the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, where all this was for the purpose of the soul's growth. The realization that all humans are divine in nature changes the perception of the picture of life. We have lived in the third fear dimension with the belief that what is happening in the world around us dictates how we feel. In that low vibration, when we see outside events as preferred or favourable, we are happy. When we see outside events as not being preferred or unfavourable, we are unhappy and we try to control them. We are angry at the outside world. We resent our brethren for what we see as their sinful behaviour. We think of ourselves as victims. Little do we know that we are projectors of the movie that we live in. With our anger, with our negative and dark feelings, we are trying to change the picture on the screen. You cannot change the picture that is projected onto a movie screen. Change can only come from the projector that is forming the images, shining the movie onto the screen. And what is in that projector is created by the perceptions of the individual, by the thoughts of the individual, by the way their world is perceived. And so, those believing and thinking that the happenings in the outside world control their happiness, those living in resentment and anger, perpetuate fear and unhappiness. For again, you cannot control the outside world by manipulating the pictures on the screen. Perceptions need to be changed. The picture of the world the individual holds needs to be altered and moved to a higher frequency of understanding. And so those whose souls are ready to move out of the planet Earth schoolroom must needs change their minds fundamentally about the world in which they live. To move into the fifth dimension of love, it is necessary to realize that you, your thoughts, your perceptions, create your reality, create the movie of your life. All humans are divine souls ensconced in human bodies. All are partaking of the planet Earth schoolroom experience. Some, still in kindergarten, are narcissists, having feelings of inferiority, contradicting feelings of excessive superiority. They need to control, to put down their brethren, to feel even okay about themselves. You too have been there, dear ones, for this is the nature of the planet Earth life. This is how mankind grows himself into greater love. It is by experiencing the opposite of love in this nightmare, this hologram, this movie that is the nature of the planet Earth life, that we realize deeply from our soul's level that we prefer love. This is the time to realize that this earthly life is indeed a dream, and we can choose now to live in an unhappy dream, a nightmare, or we can choose the happy dream of love. This time of revelation on earth is a time of chaos and discombobulation, as the truth of our negative nature in the unhappy dream, of our upside-down unloving world comes to light. This time is necessary for the lifting of the vibration of planet Earth and its inhabitants. This is as true for the world as a whole as it is for each individual. For before we can move out of the fear vibration, we must see its true nature and how the whole earthly system works. We must see how our unloving dysfunctions work and how our thinking creates our reality before we can change both our thinking and our reality. We cannot be in the fear and love frequency at the same time. At every moment of every day, we must choose fear or love in our thoughts and project them onto the movie screen of our life. Yet we cannot choose love until we realize that we have been choosing fear. We have allowed our entrained, our programmed perception of outside events to control our thoughts and feelings. And so we have been unhappy, and we have felt unloving and unloved. As we come to realize that we are all divine beings, brothers and sisters, soul aspects of God, having a human experience to grow ourselves in our awareness, to school ourselves into greater love, we change our whole perception of life. This is true forgiveness, for we realize that nothing wrong ever happened. There is nothing to forgive. We are all on the divine path of learning greater love. This change in perception is the miracle of forgiveness that is taking place for all of humanity at this time. This change in perception is what the Great Awakening is all about. The Great Awakening is mankind's realization that he has been living in schoolroom planet Earth, that he and all his brethren are divine beings on the very challenging path of the karmic school of life, where not preferred thinking leads to fear and division of brother from brother, where eventually that division, that hatred becomes so intense that even in the low vibration of third-dimensional life, mankind can take it no more, and he chooses to return to love. Yes, be of good cheer, dear brethren. All is well in your world. You are seeing clearly now from the upper room of understanding how the curriculum of planet Earth works. You are seeing how evil is made out to be good, and how all that is good is made out to be evil, and how, through all this confusion and chaos, it is man's job to realize that he has been in a dream, a nightmare of hurt and hatred, greed and desire, in order to school himself into greater love. Indeed, be of good cheer, choose love, for all around you are divine souls having a human experience. And as you choose love, as you project loving thoughts onto your holy brethren, the pictures on the movie screen of the outside world change. Peace and joy, happiness envelops your world, and you are in the vortex, the flow of the love vibration. And dear ones, we know as we learn to move peacefully through the days of our lives that the best is yet to come. As we ascend into the frequency of love, indeed, the best is yet to come. That was Aita channeling her higher self. We are blessed beings, indeed.